What's going on, guys? This is John Zakari, and today I want to talk about this Axiom Verge versus Nintendo situation a little bit. So, if you haven't heard, Axiom Verge developer Tom Happ appeared on a podcast that was talking about the Switch version of the game, which led many to seeing this as a confirmation for the game on the Switch platform. Then enter another individual working on the game, Dan Adelman, who is also a former Nintendo employee. He took to Twitter to clear the air, explaining that this was not a confirmation for a Switch version of the game. Then when people began to question him about all this confusion, he went on to say that a Switch version of the game has been done. In fact, it would have been ready for launch, but they've just been waiting for Nintendo's approval. And according to Adelman, and I'm quoting him here, they've been asking them non-stop for over a year. They're being douches. Probably not the best choice of words, and as a result, the story has blown up a bit, and there's been some skepticism over what the reasoning is behind this. I mean, we know very little and virtually nothing from Nintendo's point of view, but it does seem odd that they wouldn't want a quality game like Axiom Verge on the Switch. I mean, it's got like an 84 on Metacritic, an overwhelmingly positive overall score on Steam. Clearly, the game is of high quality. Now, some have suggested that this could have something to do with the rocky relationship, I guess, between Adelman and Nintendo. I guess he's had some not-so-stellar things to say about them in the past. But that's not really what I want to talk about here, because, yeah, we could all speculate forever about what or why this happened. Rather, I'd like to discuss why the outcome is negative. First off, Nintendo right now should be looking to get anything and everything in terms of quality content on the Switch, and indies are really the only ones stepping it up for the big N here. I mean, go onto the Switch's eShop right now and pretend all the current indie developed games weren't there, and the catalog looks much worse than the already what I would consider less than impressive state it's currently in. I've been saying for a while that there is only so much the slow trickle of games can do to maintain interest in people for the system. I mean, we've got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe coming out, still a port of a Wii U game, but I guess we'll take whatever we can get at this point. But the important thing to note here is that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is pretty much the first major release we've had on the system since launch. We need these indie games to provide us with more options as Nintendo attempts to build the Switch's library. Now, specifically the quote calling Nintendo douches, this probably doesn't do much to build faith for indie devs who are currently considering developing games for the Switch. Now, thankfully Adelman has since apologized for his choice of words, but as he also said, the damage has been done. And I hope this doesn't have an impact on other developers. I mean, if you're working on a game and planning what platforms to release it on, hearing that any console manufacturer is giving indies a hard time isn't going to be a great selling point. And I really hope this doesn't happen because I see the Switch as a fantastic place for indies. Yeah, this is potentially a two-way street in terms of benefits, especially now. While yes, having these indies helps pad the number of games on the Switch from Nintendo's side, these indie games are getting featured prominently on the platform. While on other systems, it can be a bit of a chore, even getting to the indie game section sometimes. On the Switch, currently they're front and center. And the Switch is a system that has been consistently selling out since launch, so what a great way to get some eyeballs on your game. And I think with many of these indies often being simpler games in terms of, controls and gameplay, they're often fantastic for taking on the go, which is pretty good for the Switch. But if this is true that the game has been ready to launch on the Switch, I just don't get why Nintendo wouldn't want to get it up as soon as possible. If you follow my channel, you know I always try to at least look at divisive situations from both sides, and I don't really have much here. I mean, maybe the game was buggy or laggy and Nintendo didn't want to release it in that state, which I highly doubt, especially since Mr. Shifty recently launched with some frame rate problems that the developers themselves even admitted. There's also the possibility that they want to release this game but at a later date, but still, It's not like they'd keep the devs completely in the dark with their intentions if that was the case. In the end, I'm a fan of games. I always want everyone to succeed because more success means more great games are going to be made. And when situations like this develop, it's not a good thing for anyone. Axiom Verge is an awesome game. I hope it gets a release on the Switch. I'll surely buy it if it does. And I think it'd be a fun one to take on the go as well. And as we get closer to E3, I'm eager to see more indies make their way to the Switch. And I hope this doesn't end up having any larger ramifications in terms of Nintendo's relationships with indies going forward. And with that, this video is a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on this Axiom Verge situation in the comments, specifically Nintendo's possible decision to sort of blow off these devs. I mean, if they are in fact dismissing this game, why do you think they might be doing this? Because I just don't really have a good reason that I can think of. As always, I'm John Zakari, and thanks for watching.